Hey everyone, this is Miss Feaster, and in this video I want to show you how I've set up the online course in Canvas. If you've had me in the past in an online class, you'll see this one is set up quite a bit differently. So thank you for spending the time to look at this. First of all, we're on the home page and you can see a few buttons here. They are self-explanatory. You're accessing this one right here now, of course. So I won't explain these buttons. They're, like I said, self-explanatory. But there's a couple of things I do want to go over with you. The first thing is this syllabus link. And so if you will click on that, in here you'll see that I have two very, very important documents. All right, the first of these is the course syllabus itself that outlines all of the rules and regulations. It tells you about the attendance policy. It tells you about how the grades will be calculated. All of the nitty-gritty of the course is going to be emphasized there. So make sure you read the syllabus. You'll notice that this one has automatically opened up within Canvas. So if you didn't want to print it out, you can just scroll through it like I'm doing right now, and it goes through. Well, then here the pages are loading gradually. But I want to note you to notice one thing in the syllabus on the grading scale. Of course, it's a 10-point scale like all the classes at Hines. But in this course, each of the assignments has a particular weight. You're going to have 6 proctored tests. Excuse me, no. You're going to have 6 tests. Each one will cover 2 chapters. 3 of those 6 tests will be proctored. 3 will be non-proctored. So you can see here the non-proctored tests are tests 1, 3, and 5. The proctored are tests 2, 4, and 6. Because there are some that are proctored, they're going to count more heavily than the unproctored, non-proctored ones. So the average of your proctored test will be 55% of your grade. The average of your non-proctored will be 30%, and then everything else will be what I considered weekly assignments, graded weekly assignments, and there's a variety of those. I'll show you those in a minute, but they will make up 15%. They don't count nearly as much because you have all week to work on them to make sure that you've got your answers correct. But on these tests, you're to treat all of them as if they were proctored, but especially on these proctored tests, uh, it's different this semester than it has been because of the issues we had with COVID-19 back in the last half of the spring semester. The proctored sites were closed because campuses were closed. This summer, the campuses will again be closed. There's just a limited amount that will be opened up. But because of that, all of your proctored tests will be virtual tests. That means you take them on your own computer. In the past, a virtual test required that you set it up ahead of time with a virtual proctor at a particular time. But this summer, Hines has collaborated with a group called Honor Lock, and in these, you take the test just any time during the open period for the test. You do not have to schedule them ahead of time, but you do have to take them from your home computer. And your computer should be equipped with a webcam and speakers. There will be a virtual proctor following your every move. You will not be able to go to other websites. You won't be able to go to other browsers. The only browser you can use for this proctoring system is Chrome. So go on and get that loaded on your computer, the Google Chrome browser. You will need to take these from a computer or a laptop, not from a phone, because you will have to use that Chrome browser. Your non-proctored tests, you can use any browser you choose. They are not proctored. No one will be watching you, but they will be limited in how long you have. So anyway, as we go through the course, you'll see that. But the big part of your grade comes from those 3 proctored tests. If you don't have the computer set up for these virtual proctored tests, there will be some limited space available for you to set that up online. So as we get closer to that first proctored test, I'll share that information with you, and you'll be able to set it up online so you can go to a campus and take it. All right. Everything else you need to make sure you read, especially on the attendance policy. Read that carefully. If you don't turn in any assignment in a week, then you will be marked absent for that week. We count attendance just once a week, and in a summer class, it's only 8 weeks. You only are allowed one absence. After that, you'll be withdrawn from the course. So it's very important that you keep up with assignments. Okay, so that's it on the syllabus. I won't talk any more about that. Sometimes within Canvas, all these documents that open up, it just takes up so much space, so you can minimize that. I'll do it right here. If you ever see this little icon that I'm circling, that means if you open it up, you'll get a preview, just like what we just saw. Okay, the other document that is critical, in my opinion, is your course schedule. So here it is in a minimized view. And this is just one page that just is sort of a snapshot of what you're going to be doing every week. For example, in this first week, we'll be working through chapter 12. In your A&P1 class, you probably finished with chapter 11. Now we're moving straight on into chapter 12. It's the same book. It's an ebook, just like you had last semester. Any assignments from the week will be due Sunday on June 7th. So do you see? On the second week, you'll be working on 2 chapters. Any assignments due will be June 14th. That's a Sunday night. And so forth. It goes through the rest of the summer. Now, the last week ends on Friday, July 24th, but I have your assignments due on that Wednesday. So they'll be due a little bit earlier. There's just one little assignment that week, other than a test. So you'll easily be able to get that in so I can get grades calculated. Now, here at the bottom, you see the 6 tests. You see which chapters are covered. So many times I have students who say, Ms. Feaster, what chapters is test 3 on? And if they would just look at the schedule, it's right there. Or if they would follow all the other directions I give, they'd be able to see that. But there's no excuse for not knowing what chapters a test is on. It's right here. It also tells you when the open dates are for these tests. Okay, I want to back out of that. Notice here on the right-hand side, you also see how everything's weighted. So we will have some optional activities that you can work on if you'd like to help improve your knowledge or to reinforce what you've learned. But we have some bonus opportunities. But as far as your weighted grades, here they are. All right, now let's minimize that. I want to show you something else that's within this syllabus link, is this course summary, where you see all these assignments or tests and when they're due. All this does is show you the due dates. Please do not be that student who relies on this and every day goes in, ooh, do I have anything due today? And then click on that and do it. You're not learning the material. You're just looking up answers. You're just doing what needs to be done to get it in for the week, but you're not learning anything. In order to learn, you've got to look at your book and you've got to look at the materials that I provide for you. Now, your book is going to be in this link called Bookshelf. And so it's an ebook, it's already loaded, it's paid for with your Canvas course, so you've already taken care of that with your tuition. So you don't have to buy it separately. It's already there. So I'll have instructions on that for you. Okay, once you've looked at the syllabus and you printed out your schedule or you've saved this to a place that's easy to get to, now go to what I call the meat of your course, and that's modules. If you've had me in the past, this is what's going to be very different as far as the organization of it. The first module is one that's mostly put up by the Hines e-learning department that makes sure you read all of this and then take this little survey. The answers to the questions on this survey can be found in all this other information above it. It is due on Sunday night, June 7th. When I say Sunday night, that means 11:59 p.m., right before midnight. That's when these will be due. And it will count as one of your little weekly assignments. But make sure that you take that. You can open it up all week long. You can take it as many times as you want until you get that perfect score of 100. This is the only option for getting 100 or taken something several times is this survey. Then, if you'll look at this Honor Lock is that company I was telling you about, where that we will be using for your virtual proctored test. All right, and so read that information, and then it's very important that you take this practice quiz. You have up until June 24th to take that. Take that before the first proctored test. The deadline for the first proctored test is June 24th, so that's why I've set this up that way. It's important that you take this first because this will ensure that your computer has everything loaded on it that you need. So that's what this practice test is for. Right at this moment, I don't have another page in this introduction module, which I will add, but that page is all about how to load your book with this bookshelf. So you'll see that. It's not here in this video, but you'll see it when the class opens. All right, now the rest of this module section is set up by weeks. So there will be 8 more of these modules. This first one is your first week, and that starts on June 1 and ends on June 7th. And in each of these modules, you'll see objectives, and these are just very broad, general objectives of basically what we'll be covering that week. You will see an agenda. This agenda is critical, folks. It's very important that you read this every week before you start doing anything, because this will tell you exactly what to do. And it's going to lead you to the study resources. It's going to tell you about any graded activities that you need to do. But all of the links for everything except the ebook itself for this week are going to be right here in this first module. So I want to show you this first week we're doing 1 chapter, but if you'll look on down here, I've got the 3rd module. I don't have them in order yet. I'm still working on it as I'm doing this video, but you'll see in this 3rd week we've got 2 chapters that we'll cover. So this first week will be the only one where you cover 1 chapter because you're getting used to the course, and it's a very big chapter. But each module is set up similarly. So let's say you've looked at the weekly agenda, and it's going to say something like, you need to read chapter 12 in your textbook. That's your ebook that you get through Bookshelf. Then go to the chapter 12 resources, the study resources. And so if I open this up, it may take it just a minute to load. Here it comes. All right, you can see I've got a lot of information. That's just that little chapter 12 resources link. All right, first of all, very importantly, I have your notes. You can open those up right here and just do a preview within Canvas, or you can download these and print them out. If it was me, that's what I would do. I'm a pen and paper person. I'm old school. But you may want to take notes on these. These are PowerPoint notes, so they're huge. And because they're PowerPoint, you probably will want to print more than 1 slide per page to save you paper, to save you ink. But anyway, those are your notes. What you need to do as you start reading each chapter is print out your notes, and then while these notes are in front of you, if you will scroll down, you'll see some videos. And these videos, they're explained right here in this information. But what these videos are is it's like you are sitting in a classroom with me. I recorded these in an on-campus face-to-face class and so it's like you're watching the smart board that I was using. So I had a microphone, I had a smart board, and it captured everything I wrote or drew on it, and it captures my voice. So if you will watch these, and they're fairly lengthy because these classes were hour to an hour and a half in length. All right, you can pause them though if you need to go get you a cup of coffee or whatever, or take a break, and then come back to them. But what I need you to do is put your notes in front of you, those PowerPoint notes. View these recordings as if you were sitting in a classroom and take notes on your PowerPoint. Do that, and then just like if you were going to campus, you wouldn't just go to class, would you? No, you'd go to class, you'd take notes, and then when you get home, you'd study those notes. So now will be the time after you've taken your notes. Let's just say you do the first recording. This particular chapter, I believe, has 3 recordings. Some of them will just have 2. Some may have 4. But view the recording and then study that part of your notes well enough until you think you could teach it to somebody else. Then when you do that, go to the next recording, do the same thing. The next recording, do the same thing. Now, my voice may go in and out. Obviously, I am not a trained broadcaster, and sometimes I mumble. I apologize so much for that. I'm very Southern, and I don't apologize for that, for you Northerners. But but anyway, just be patient with me. There might be points in these videos where there's pauses. That would be maybe a student was asking me a question and you're not hearing that. So if they do ask a question, many times I'll try to repeat that before I answer it. Okay, so that's the most important thing you can do with your time is to not just view the recording, but then go and sit down and learn those notes well enough so you think you could teach it to somebody else. Just think, if it takes me an hour to speak it on a recording, and I've done this for over 30 years, y'all. If it takes me just an hour for that, it's going to take you at least 2 or 3 hours to learn it. All right, and so after the recordings, have time set aside to view these. All right, then I've got some other activities. These are optional, but I do have a very detailed study guide. This study guide goes right along. I'll just do a little preview. It goes right along with your notes, and I would not, if I were you, I would not look up the answers to these initially. What I would do is study your notes. When you think you've got it under your belt, then go to these objectives and see how many of these you can answer. There's quite a few because this covers that humongous chapter. It's going to take 1 minute to load up. You might want to print these out, write this down, or just do it visually. You don't have to write the answers. You will not be turning these in to me. Please don't ask me for what the answers are because that defeats the purpose. This is a study guide. That means this is for your benefit, not for you to sit and memorize what I did, but for you to see if you can remember what you've learned from those recordings. All of this can be answered by your notes and the recordings and your textbook. If it's not covered in the notes and the recordings, that's going to be very rare. But if it's not covered there, it will be in your ebook. So this is a study guide for you. If you can do this thoroughly without looking at your notes or your book, you have a really good handle on the material and you'll probably just ace the test. All right, the next thing that I have underneath the study guide is an optional practice for you. Some of you may have used a system called LearnSmart in the past in prior A&P classes at Hines, or if you had a McGraw-Hill course, another course, excuse me, through a McGraw-Hill book. They have this system called LearnSmart through their Connect site. And I've got a link for some little assignments that are totally optional. The deadline is the last day of class, but you do not have to do them. You don't have to submit them. Do not worry about these. But it is an awesome, adaptive, interactive flashcard system along with its own type of ebook that's like ours. But it reinforces the material that you've learned. So a lot of students really love that. They take a lot of time. Don't do that initially. Do that as your last step in your studying. Like I said, the most important thing is going to be to print your notes and learn those notes. And these recordings are going to help you interpret the notes the way I do. And I'm the one who made out the test. So everything comes from your notes. The recordings, the study guide, the test, all of that comes from your notes. So I think I've dwelt on that way too long. But, all right, I'm going to go back into just the basic that first week's module. And so what we've done so far, I've just briefly talked about these objectives are not those study guide objectives. These are much broader, much more general. There's only 3 or 4 or 5 in a chapter. But that's just something I have to do. Don't worry so much about that. But here, the agenda tells you what to do. If you follow the directions in the agenda, you'll be fine. It's going to walk you through going into the study resources and what to do there. Then it's going to tell you, okay, in this one, you've got 2 assignments this week. Here are the links for them. Both of these are assignments that are due on Sunday night, June 7th at 11:59 p.m. But you don't have to wait till then to do it. Once you open it up, you can work on it all week long. Just don't submit it. If you hit a submit button, it's going to automatically be graded. You cannot go back in it and the grade stands. But if you just back out of it, or there may be a button that says save and exit, you can do that. This first one, this chapter 12, this goes out to the McGraw-Hill textbook website called Connect. But it's a little quiz that has a lot of interactive labeling in it, and I think you'll find these to be quite fun. But again, you can access it all week long. Then this week 1 quiz, these are mostly multiple choice questions that come directly from the material in your notes. When you open these, you'll see that, again, you can open them all week long. You can go in and out. I don't care if you print them. That's fine with me. Don't think that these are the only questions, though, from this chapter that will be on the big test when it comes up. But this will give you an idea of the kinds of things that I ask on the test. Okay, so that's the first week. And then each week you'll have another module, and it'll just kind of walk you through what to do. Like on this 3rd week, I'm sorry, the 2nd week's not up yet. I didn't do it quite in order. But you can see I had a bonus opportunity. And then if there was a test that was open anytime during that week, then there's going to be a link there. The reason you've got 2 tests on this particular week is because this first one closes in the first few days of the week, and the second one opens up in the last few days of the week. But and then we'll continue on to the next week. But you'll get used to it. All right, I've spent a lot of time going through that because I find that one of the hardest things for students about online classes is figuring out that teacher and how the teacher has it set up. What am I supposed to do? If you will just follow the steps in the agenda, you will be fine. It will tell you everything you need to do for that week. So there's no excuse not to know what to do. Each week, you'll have a module. When the class begins, all the 8 modules for the 8 weeks may not be ready yet, but I guarantee you they'll be ready before that week opens. All right. I believe that's pretty much everything I needed to tell you. So good luck and study, study, study. A&P2 is my most favorite course to teach. I love the systems in it, and but it's a big one. So you have chosen to take this in an 8-week setting rather than a 16-week. So just realize you're going to have a lot of information to cover every week, and set aside appropriate study time. Don't wait until the last minute to do something. If you study from day 1, keep up every day. Set you up a schedule of how much you're going to study every day. Then when those tests come, you won't be so surprised. All right, well, good luck with it. I know you're tired of talking to me and you're ready to get going in the class. So I'm here. Send me Canvas inbox messages or call me if you need to. Just please don't call me after 9 o'clock at night. I'm not a night owl like many of you are. I get up early, but I go to bed early. All right, thanks, y'all.